Good morning, everyone. As we continue our devotionals on fasting, I'm going to talk about the need for fasting, the need for fasting. In Daniel 1, verse 3 to 5, then the king ordered Ashpenaz, chief of the court officials, to bring into the king's service some of the Israelites from the royal family and the nobility. Young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. He was to teach them the language and literature of the Babylonians. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine from the king's table. They were to be trained for 3 years, and after that, they were to enter the king's service. We find the names of these precocious young princesses of Israel among the eunuchs of the king of Babylon. Now, eunuchs were usually persons who had been emasculated. And although it is true that sometimes eunuchs merely means in the sense the officers of the king, the situation here does not lend itself to such an explanation. These young men were not officers at all, but captives. And when we speak of them, there's a great possibility that Daniel and his friends may have been emasculated. There's some evidence to suggest this view because of Isaiah's prophecy. In 2 Kings 20, verse 16 to 18, reading from verse 16, then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, hear the word of the Lord. The time will surely come when everything in your palace and all your predecessors, all that your predecessors have stored up until this day will be carried off to Babylon. Nothing will be left, says the Lord. And some of the descendants, your own flesh and blood, who was born to you, will be taken away, and they'll become eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. So that is from Isaiah's account of what will happen. And as for the reasons why the names of the men were changed by their Babylonian masters, several motives could have caused it. One, Hebrew names being unfamiliar to the Babylonians. They replaced them with names that could more easily remember, they could all easily remember and pronounce. Two, a definite hostility to the religion of the Hebrews is also evident. They replaced names which were derived from the true God through the use of syllables meaning Yahweh or Jehovah, with Babylonian names which either honored Babylonian pagan gods or in some way might have been derogatory. Note the following. Daniel means God is my judge. Hananiah means Yahweh has been gracious. Mishael means who is like God. Azariah means Yahweh has helped. The names given in Babylon to these men had the following meanings. Belshazzar means Bel, a pagan god, protects his life. Shadrach means the command of Aku, the moon god. Misha means, who is this? Abednego means servant of the god Nabu. From this, it is easy to see that the purpose of the names included the desire to eradicate all traces of the Hebrew religion and replace them with names honoring the Babylonian pagan gods. They had to respond to this spiritual attack on God and his people. There was a need to take a stand. There was a need for fasting. You can emasculate us, you could change our names, you could retrain us, but we'll resolve not to eat the royal food and wine. Now you could see that in verse 8. The food was contrary to what they were supposed to eat according to the laws of Moses, the food laws. From this, it is easy to see that the purpose of the different customs and meals in our present moral society included this immoral society, included desire to eradicate all traces of true godly living as Jesus' disciples and replace them with traditions, honoring pagan gods of entertainment, social media, work, several sexual immorality, and false religion. King Nebuchadnezzar wanted to program Daniel, Misha, and Abednego to be more like the world as opposed to be godly, to be more like the pagan people in Babylon. In this world, we are constantly being reconditioned. We have internet with all kinds of ideas bombarding us. Some people go to university believing in God, and when they leave, they claim to be atheist or agnostic because of what is being taught at university level. The whole culture of this world is essentially teaching us or retraining us to turn away from God. In this passage, Daniel and his friends were willing to deny themselves of the things of this world so they could hold on to God and his way. In this way, fasting is a need because we need to pull away from this world in order to be godly. Fasting forces us to focus on God and his provision for us and our needs. Let us learn from them.